Alright, welcome to another video, and before we get started I'd like to take a quick minute to thank all the Patreon supporters and YouTube channel members whose names you see scrolling across the screen right now. They make this financially possible, and without you, I probably wouldn't be here making videos, so thank you. Alright, so welcome back to another video. As you can see, we're flying analog once again. I had mentioned recently, it might have been even the last video, but last time I flew the Eagle in that video, I mentioned that I tried to fly the T1 Ranger, which is what we're flying today, as you can see there, if you look back. I had mentioned the last time I tried to fly it, I had pretty poor performance from the analog video, and I actually got a comment on that video that asked me if I remembered to switch the antennas back to right-hand circular polarized, because I'd been using them on the Walksnail system, and turns out I had not. That was a critical mistake I made. So I actually flew with right-hand circular polarized antenna on the airplane, and the antennas on the ground were set up for left-hand. They're the triple feed patch antennas, and as you know, you can set those up for either right-hand or left-hand, and they were configured for left-hand. So that's why I had such poor performance. So that's why I wanted to fly today. I have my antenna set up properly this time. I'm gonna go back to cruise, and we're just gonna kind of cruise out in this direction right now. We're going into the wind. You can see we're showing about a 9.5 mile an hour or so wind, kind of a headwind right now. There is actually a lot of rain around. There's some rain straight ahead, and there's some rain out that way, and there's some more rain out behind us that way. We're kind of in a little opening between all the rain right now, between the thunderstorms, so I don't want to drag this flight out any longer than I really have to. So we're just going to kind of cruise out here a little bit and just kind of verify that the video does work as expected, and then get back home and get on the ground. You can kind of see directly above us right there, well, kind of straight ahead and above us, there's a little bit of cloud and everything, clouds going on out there. And like I said, out that way is some pretty heavy thunderstorms. I mean, they're several miles away, but they're out in that direction, and we do have a fair bit of wind blowing right now. And I mean, obviously you can see the wind speed that the autopilot's estimating, but you can kind of see the airplane's also getting rocked around pretty good. It is a pretty rough wind, which is usually the case when you have thunderstorms in the area. But yeah, I can already say with confidence that the video is working tremendously better compared to what it was at the last time I tried to fly this plane. I wasn't even able to make it a mile out, and obviously we have done so now. So yeah, that was kind of a boneheaded mistake on my part, and I just wanted to do a quick update. And let me turn off my air conditioner. It just kicked on, just so that it doesn't interrupt the video, the narration. But yeah, I just wanted to kind of fly it again, just to kind of follow up on that, and just basically verify that it does work as expected, and just kind of follow up. And since I had said in that video that the analog performance was so poor and I didn't expect to fly it anymore, or didn't really enjoy flying analog anymore, I just wanted to point out that that was my mistake. And you can see the analog video is working just fine. Now obviously it's no HD system, but it's workable, it's acceptable, it's analog FPV. But another reason I wanted to fly it on analog now, rather than wait for a better day, I have another Walksnail transmitter and camera, the V2 transmitter with the Pro camera. I have another one that actually just arrived this morning. I ordered it late Saturday, and thanks in no small part to one of my viewers, Mark. He actually reached out and sent me a gift card to cover the cost of it. So I kind of mentioned in my previous videos that I would like to put HD in this little plane, but I didn't really want to spend the money. I was kind of watching my budget, so it wasn't going to happen immediately. If it would happen at all, it would be later, you know, kind of in not very near future. But yeah, we're 2 miles right now, so we're going to go ahead and turn around and start making some headway back home, which we should pick up pretty good ground speed with the tailwind that's going to be pushing us back. Yeah, we're doing 45 miles an hour now with the tailwind. You can see those clouds up ahead too, above us. It's kind of what we're trying to avoid, any of that rain that starts dumping out here. And it definitely is moving in closer, looking at the radar. So yeah, back to what I was saying. Mark reached out and offered to send me a gift card to cover that, because he would like to build one, and he would like to see my thoughts and I guess how I would build this little plane out with Walk Snow. So I'm going to be doing that in the near future. And I did reach out to Giz FPV and asked him about his mounts. I know he's running a Walk Snow system in his T1 Ranger, and he has a nice solution for a fixed mount. And if I decide to go the fixed mounted camera, I'm going to use his printed parts. I'll print his files and use those parts. And I did find another one from someone else. Seems like a pretty good starting point if I want to mount the transmitter inside and keep the camera on top with a pan servo and keep the pan servos. I do like having pan. It's always more enjoyable to me. I just kind of have to weigh the pros and cons and kind of see if it's worth having the added weight and drag that's gonna come with the pan servo mount. I'll see. I haven't really decided yet. I'm probably gonna reach out to Mark and see what he plans on doing with his plane, and however he wants to build his, I guess I'll do the same with mine, since it's kind of, I'm building it with the transmitter that he paid for. Kind of feel like I owe it to him to kind of set an example on how to do it the way he intends to do his, I guess, if that makes sense. But yeah, huge thank you to Mark for that. I really, really do appreciate that. And like I said, we're probably going to keep this pretty short. Kind of starting to look around a bit. This is the point where I would usually start playing around down low and kind of flying by the cows and maybe making some approaches at the shed and stuff out here. But like I said, I don't want to drag it out too long. We've only been flying for like 7.5 minutes right now. So it'll be a fairly short video if I do upload it at this point. But I definitely do want to avoid that rain if at all possible. So yeah, some other changes that I'm flying in the plane right now since the last time I flew it, some differences. These motor mounts, these are some 3D printed motor mounts, because my stock ones are actually cracked, and that's another thing that I'd like to thank Giz FPV for. He posted a video showing that he lost one of his motors in flight, and I kind of took that as motivation to double check mine again, as these are known to fail after some time. The plastic gets brittle and cracks on these, and they've made some changes and upgraded the mounts in the newer versions of the Ranger, but on the earlier versions, like his and mine, they're known to eventually crack. And I was lucky enough to catch mine. It was cracking and failing, and both of them were actually showing signs of failing pretty soon. So I ended up printing these mounts and replacing them sooner rather than later. It's a vehicle down there on the roadway. But yeah, these motor mounts seem to work fine. There's no unexpected vibrations or jello or anything like that. And like I said, I do have one brief flight from previously when I'd messed up on those antennas, and there were no issues with heating or anything like that. But these motors always come down pretty cold. I mean, like almost cooler than just ambient temperature. They don't run hot at all, at least for me. I'm running on 3S 18650 pack with Nazgul props. I don't remember the exact pitch, but I know they're a 4-inch pitch. I want to say like 4032 or 4030s or something like that. I would have to double check to see what the pitch is. I know there's some little 4-inch Nazgul props though, and they seem to work well in here. They're pretty efficient and run smooth. Kind of curious what that other truck was doing down there. It looked like it was kind of running along the edge of the roadway there. I guess they're just driving slow. Probably gonna turn across the bridge. But yeah, the motor mounts, these printed mounts seem to be working fine. And I have the Walksnail GPS in here as well that I had shown that I'm running in the Swordfish, but in this one I actually enabled the compass. I set it up and calibrated it. Now I've only done the ground calibration that you normally do from, like you trigger from Mission Planner and calibrate it like normally, where you kind of spin the airplane in circles on all axis, you know, that whole compass calibration dance. I've done that on the ground, but I should have enough data from, you know, this flight alone should have already logged enough data to do a nice calibration using the log from this flight and MagFit utility. And I don't exactly remember how to do it. It's not real complicated. There's a guide on the ArduPilot website in the documentation. There's a guide on how to do it. I think there might even be a video. But if necessary, I'll reach out to some of my ArduPlaying friends and ask for help with that if I need to. But yeah, I'll be able to fine-tune that calibration for the compass, and I mean, it already seems to be working fine. As far as the GPS lock is good, as good or better than the BN220 that came out of here, which is typically what I've seen between this and the other Walksnail GPS. Seems to be an improvement over the BN220. And having a compass is better than not having a compass, I think. At least in ArduPlaying, it does a fairly good job of managing a compass, especially when you're flying with some crosswind. It seems to help with ground track and everything. You see if I've kind of put that crosswind hitting the side of the plane, you'll kind of see the airplane crabbing into it, although it's only showing like a 4-mile-an-hour wind right now, and it is pretty gusty, so the airplane's going to be kind of getting rocked around more so than anything else. But I know in the Eagle, when I'm flying with a compass in that one, I've flown in some pretty high winds, and in crosswind you can see the plane kind of side slipping fairly good bit. Seeing a bird out there, but yeah, you can definitely see it kind of crabbing into the wind to hold a ground track. But I more or less just wanted to verify that it works. A couple of people reached out and asked me if I had issues getting the compass to work with this GPS. And I think the biggest problem is that the STA and SCL pins are mislabeled on this GPS on some of them. I think it's been corrected, but I know at least some of them that went out were mislabeled. And I guess in that case, if it just doesn't work for you, swap the STA and SCL pins, which are the ones that connect to your I2C data port. And it won't hurt anything if you come up backwards, it just won't work. But if it doesn't work, just swap them around and see if it works. I actually wired this one up backwards because I followed the labeling on those pins, and mine is one that was labeled backwards. So it didn't work initially, and I swapped those pins around and it started working right away. Kind of watching another vehicle down there on the roadway. But yeah, the video seems to be working perfectly fine now. So it was just, like I said, my boneheaded mistake. I forgot to switch them back to right-hand polarization, so I was flying with a theoretical loss of about 20 dB between right-hand and left-hand polarization. So I was basically shouldn't have had any video signal at all if following theory, if the theoretical information is correct. But I was just kind of flying on what was getting spewed out, I guess, or maybe some multipathing reflections I was picking up, something like that. But I was lucky to have any video at all, so that's why my video was so terrible. And I'm kind of surprised that it was as good as it was, given that. So we're going to go ahead and push the nose down and lose some altitude and make my way back home. I've flown quite a bit longer, about twice as long now as I initially said I was going to. So I'm going to start leveling off before we get too low. So we're still in cruise mode. And your pitch control is a little bit delayed in cruise mode. You really don't have any direct control over pitch. You're just controlling altitude. And it's not as fast as you might need flying down low. But we're going to get down low and see if the air might be a little bit smoother on the way back. Although this little plane handles some pretty good gusty wind. It does a good job of flying in it. It's able to tolerate some pretty nasty winds that I've flown it in before. You see, even now with all the thunderstorm activity in the area, it's still not really get bumped around too bad. But yeah, we're going to come back home and land here shortly. So once again, a huge thank you to Mark for covering the cost of that extra Walksnail transmitter and camera. And I guess that's a project that you're going to see coming up here pretty soon on the channel. And I posted on the community tab. If I know not everyone checks those or sees those, but if you didn't see that, I posted. I got the Baby AR Pro from Sonic Model. They sent me one.
Fly-by-wire A.
Switch to fly-by-wire and start getting ready to set up my landing. But yeah, I have that coming up. That build. I'm actually going to run analog video in that one. It's kind of the plan at this point. Right now I'm looking to see which direction I'm going to land in. I think it's going to be pretty much a crosswind if I land diagonally on my new runway. But yeah, we'll be flying that here pretty soon once we get it built. Going to be doing autopilot with it, and pretty basic build. Cut my power and start my flare, land in front of the shop. Landed a little long, but that'll work. So we'll go back to manual and disarm and cut my video transmitter power down a bit. And like I said, we'll be building the Baby AR Pro here pretty soon, doing autopilot with analog video in it. And we're going to be replacing the analog video in the T1 Ranger with Walksnail. And again, we have Mark to thank for that. And now I know what the issue was with the analog video. So, might be flying analog more in the future. I'm not going to write it off just yet, but definitely prefer Walksnail HD. So anyway, thank you for watching this video. Just kind of a quick little flight and talking about some more updates coming up. And I don't know. I guess we'll see what's coming up here pretty soon. So keep an eye out for that. Thank you for watching this one, and I'll see you all in the next video.